It ain't good. Well, boys and girls, I got some news on the barn and all of the electronics within it. It's all got to go. It's all bad. Every bit of it. So, as you know, I work in a tobacco barn. This tobacco barn is 80 plus years old. So it's got a little age on it. Unfortunately, so do all of the electricals within the barn. And recently, I lost all power. Found out I got a burnt wire. So I did the right thing. I turned everything off. And I've been working so far without. Called a buddy of mine, and he said, I know a guy. And that guy, his name is Brock with Vector. Here in Middle Tennessee, Vortex Electric and HVAC. Fantastic dude. He and his brother Tanner came out and wanted to take a look at it and see what he could do to help me out. As it is, we spent 3 hours trying to find the source of power for the barn. You know, back in the day, old country boys kind of did what they needed to do, and sometimes it wasn't done the right way. Or in a way that makes any sense whatsoever. And that's what we have here. So it turns out the house wasn't providing the power for the barn. The house is the only connecting part of the entire power system for this entire farm. But they did one thing, and they wired the house to another barn. Well, not really barn, more of an alternate house. Back in the day, they used that for the people that worked the farm and worked with the family. And it was, I guess, in a way, the servants' quarters, but they were paid. So it was the paid workers' quarters, and it's very minimal. It was a brick-o-block building and didn't really have a whole lot to it. You've got in that room, that's where they have the laundry room, you know, washer and dryer and all that fun stuff. Well, it turns out that the electrical box in there, the left side, is what powers this. That wire is running 186 feet underground to get to the barn. That wire is what we call a 10-2 wire. Hey, little man.
Hi.
Little man decided to join. And my middle child, Alice. You guys haven't met her yet. She's wild and crazy. She's going to go ride her bike. Okay, back to it. So the wire is a 10-2 wire, meaning it is a 10 gauge wire, and it has 2 wires inside of it, a power and a natural. Not a ground. But the box over in that building does have ground capabilities. Okay, cool. So the reason why we figure that we lost power and that wire burnt up is because there's no ground here. None. Whatsoever. This box is old. Don't hit that, buddy. 4-year-old. Gotta be crazy, gotta be moving. Okay, so this box is old. It does not have ground at all. There's a grounding rod outside, but nothing's really connected to it. So what we deducted is the power being provided to the lights and the plugs and everything works only just. And because I am using a lot more than what it has in the past, meaning I have lights on and I'm charging drill batteries, and you know, I did run my welder, but I turned everything else off because I kind of had an idea that it just wasn't going to be enough. So, as I was saying before little man decided to have a conversation with me, I lost my train of thought, but I was talking about the power and the lack of grounds. So because I used lights and I used power cords and I did my welder, it's all just too much for this system because it's old. And, you know, back in the day, a lot of things were hand tools, not necessarily what you would want to use as, you know, power tools. Yeah, they had air compressors and, you know, running things like that, and welders and stuff like that. But he wasn't using that stuff very much. He was fixing old tractors and things like that, but a lot of times it was not that big a deal. So that being said, I was too much for the barn. So in order to fix the problem, I'm going to have to gut everything and run new wire that 186 feet from the other building that direction to here. And that wire needs to be a 10-3 wire with a ground, because we can ground it out there, we can ground it out here, we have the grounding rod here, so the more grounds the better. As we all know, because we all love electricals, grounding makes it work. So, here's my plan. I am going to replace it all. Plugs, lights, interior wiring, and that exterior wiring. Because this also powers the chicken coop, we're going to have to figure out a way to power the chicken coop back again, but I bet we could run that off of a regular circuit, because the only thing we really use out there are 2 lights and 1 possible plug. That's it. So there should be no problem with getting power back out to the chicken coop. So let me walk you around. Let me show you what we're looking at as far as the plan for lights and electricals. Now, like I said, I have no power. Some of these videos are going to be a little dark, and such as my tool room. Everywhere else I'm getting natural light coming through the slats of the barn. So we have a little bit of light, but let's see what we can see. We'll walk you through everything, and I'm moving things around because I am still going to do the Cherokee lift, ball joints, hubs, and rear brakes all next week. I know, it's going to be a lot. I'm going to have to find a way to get my air compressor fired up so I can get some air tools going, because I just don't have the electrical tools for it. I've got a small impact wrench, my Porter cable. It's not going to work for what I'm doing on this Cherokee. I've got a lot that I've got to do, and I need those air tools to get it done in the weekend that I have to do it. It'll be multiple videos, guys. I'm going to separate it out for the ball joints, the brakes, and the suspension lift. Okay? The ball joints will include the hubs, but we're going to separate it all out so that it's organized and showing a different perspective on each individual item. Otherwise, that video is going to be 3 hours long. And I ain't Derek from Vice Grip Garage. I can't make a 3-hour long video and I have everybody stick around for it. Just not there yet, guys. But let's walk around. Let's show you what the plan is. All right, so here is the middle part of the barn. Now, I've got things moved around because I'm actually going to be putting the Jeep right there, and I'm going to work on the Cherokee over there. So I'm going to do 1 or 2 lights long ways here. I'm going to have a plug over on that side. I don't think I need a plug on this side. My main workshop area, I'm trying to get to be the concrete area over there. That being said, I've got a little more that I'm going to do over there. Okay, so this right here is purely just going to be storage, maybe backup work area. Into the dungeon. Surprisingly, we're getting a little bit of light in here. Don't worry about the mess. Gonna fix it. Yes. Okay. So right now I've got 1 big light there, 2 lights there. We're gonna do a single light and a single light and do LED in here so that they draw less. All of them are gonna be LED, and then right now I've got plugs there and there. And I'm probably gonna keep that, oh, and up there. Right there, somewhere. There. So we're gonna simplify it a little bit. I don't need that many plugs in here, but keeping it to a minimum. And then my welder, we're gonna have kind of a dedicated welder plug that gets a little bit more oomph than the rest. And then over where the Jeep is, onto the concrete pad. we're gonna do the same thing here. Light and light. And then we're gonna run a plug system over here so that I can run this table, this mess of a table. And then possibly one more over there for lights, because I've got that one and it works really well to have a light plugged in over there to go underneath the Jeep. So we have a plan. We've just got to get everything written up and find out the cost, because it ain't gonna be cheap. But it is what it is. It's got to be done right. Could it be fixed and work as is with a repair? Possibly. Is it going to do what it did before? Likely. Is that ideal for an 80-plus-year-old barn that's holding all of my tools and everything? No. I don't want to create a fire hazard. I don't want to lose everything that I've got. I have worked on this Jeep for a very long time, and the last thing I want is to lose it to a fire. Okay? So we've got a little bit of work to do to get everything set up for next week, and then hopefully we can start working on getting things organized and getting it ready for a complete rewire throughout the entire barn. There is one more section basically where I keep the tractors and the lawnmowers and all of those fun things. That stuff, it doesn't necessarily need a whole lot of power to it. Little man in his go-kart. So it doesn't need a whole lot of power to it, but it might be nice to keep a light in here just in case I do need to do a little bit of work, but we'll see. So from here, we're going to, like I said, work on the Cherokee next weekend. I'm going to get that done, get some wheels and tires, well, not wheels. Going to get some tires on it. I would love some turbine wheels, but I just can't afford them right now. Yeah, budgets. But, you know, it's... Little man's having a breakdown. So we're going to work on getting everything set up and then get it all replaced, rewired, and hopefully have a better setup, more lights, more comfortable, and be able to continue working, give you guys content, give you guys videos on how to work on your vehicles and fun things that we get to do here. So from here, I'm out. Later, taters.
Make sure to like and subscribe.